Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, January 30th, 2024. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe that it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today. See what they can do for you. The number's right there on the screen, 715-520-2271. Fitzy, good morning.
Morning.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
It's one of my favorite shows of the whole year. We to go through your report. Hopefully everybody has theirs printed out.
It's right. Every at home has their score sheet, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's like bingo.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I just printed it all out. It's on my printer. There's 8 pages. Can't wait to go through it. So we do probably want to kind of get through some of our sports questions, and there is a couple of other topics here that I want to make sure we brought up. I had an insider story about a plea hearing coming up for a 10th offense OWI, and you put out a press release about an elderly Cameron resident who's facing 10 counts of child pornography. So there's some housekeeping we need to kind of get to, but I kind of want to get to these things relatively quickly because I can't wait to get into the report, if that's okay with you.
That's not a problem.
All right. So let's start with, well, as always, sports. Chiefs beat the Ravens. Did the Chiefs win the game or did the Ravens lose the game?
Yeah, I read a stat this morning about how many times the Ravens quarterback, what is that his name?
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson dropped back instead of ran, the most times ever, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are going to win no matter what. I mean, the Chiefs are just good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Ravens lost that game, and exactly. It's so funny because that's exactly why. They had, I think their running backs only ran the ball 6 times in the whole game, and they're one of the best running. It's like this. They're overthinking it. I know the Chiefs are going to think we're going to run because we're a running team, so we're just going to pass it. It's like, yes, but the problem is you have Lamar Jackson passing. That's not a good scenario. He's a brilliant quarterback, but really. Yeah. Throw the ball 40 or 50 times. Really? That's how, and not you're down 20 points.
Right.
They had to catch up. Like, what are you doing? So, yeah, I think the Ravens kind of lost that one. And we both thought the Chiefs would win, and we both wanted the Chiefs to get in the Super Bowl just from a storyline standpoint. That's going to be great. So the other game, of course, that was the big game. 90% of the country wanted the Lions to win. Yeah. The Lions lost 34-31 to the 49ers. Did the 49ers win, or did the Lions basically lose that game?
The Lions lost that. I mean, it was way too aggressive coaching, and I know he's going to hold his hat. I did that all year, and that's why we're here. You take the points when you can. I mean, they lost that.
I agree.
Yeah. We both like Dan Campbell. I mean, there's no question.
Love that dude. Yeah. And that's what got him there. Those foot downs.
There's true to that, and when you're the boss, you get to make the decisions. I mean, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I think there were, like, one of those 4th down plays, it was a drop pass. Yeah. Like, there's, 4 plays throughout that game. If any of those went a different way, the Lions would have won that game. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a series. Like, even that interception that wasn't an interception, it went off the guy's helmet, and then the 49ers receiver caught it. I mean, that was a huge difference maker.
They had luck on their side.
They just did. Now the 49ers, like, no kidding. Brock Purdy in that second half was 13 for 16, 170 yards throwing, 50 yards run. I mean, that dude was brilliant. Future Hall of Famer Brock Purdy.
That's right. But the biggest question out there is, can Taylor Swift make it from Tokyo to the Super Bowl? So I mean, ABC News had the map this morning, and I'm like, she has a private jet. She'll make it anywhere she wants to be.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and I think I read a story not long ago, I think it was a week ago, that Taylor Swift has added like $313 million into the NFL just from her presence. So, I mean, it's good for the sport.
They only referenced her like 2 times during the game. It's not like, and everybody's like, I'm so tired. I'm like, they only referenced her twice. If you look at a Lakers game, they reference everybody in the audience multiple times.
I know.
So I think I don't care, but leave her. I mean, so she's there supporting her boyfriend. Who cares?
I think I saw a story that said that I think it was on Daily Mail that she was on screen for I don't know, 20 seconds, maybe 30 of the whole. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everybody's thinking, whatever. I don't understand the Taylor Swift thing, but it's going to be a great game. So we'll get into our Super Bowl, kind of not our predictions, but what are the Chiefs going to have to do to win, and what would the 49ers have to do to win? We'll do that at the end of next week's show, because next week we have a guest right at the beginning. Who's our guest next week?
Jen Mason from the Benjamin.
That's right. So we'll get to it at the end of the show next week. But before we move on, did you see, because you and I both like Wisconsin Badgers basketball, and we both like Duke basketball. They both this weekend moved into the top 10. And I know we haven't talked about college basketball. We won't really get into it because I don't know how many people actually follow that stuff. But that's pretty awesome, right? Both those teams.
And men's basketball, men's hockey, and women's hockey, all for the Badgers are in the top 10. Like 2, 4, and 6 or something like that. I mean, it's a big day for Wisconsin sports. Yeah. It's a huge hockey's awesome, girls and boys. And Duke won last night, so they should climb. Big game Saturday, North Carolina. Duke. And they're 3 versus 7.
Versus 3. And they got to play them at the last game of the season, too, because there's only like 10 games left.
Right.
So those two, and same with the Badgers. They play Purdue, I think, next or the game after this. They're second right, and they also have to play them the last game of the season. So it's going to be an interesting end to this. Yeah. As soon as football's over, we can start talking about other sports, right? Because it's been pretty heavy on the NFL lately.
The Pro Bowl's on this weekend, though. So,
are you going to watch it?
I don't know.
I mean, if I'm around, I'll turn it on. But
it's skills competition, so it's different than it used to be.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's a new thing.
I didn't know that.
Anyway, we'll get over that. So,
well, I'll probably still watch. All right, so we have a couple things to get through, and then we're going to get into the 2023 annual Barron County Sheriff's Office report. We'll get to all that in 15 seconds after a word from Spooner Health.
Spooner Health, compassion is at the center of everything we do. It's rooted in who we are and why we're here. It unites us as providers, neighbors, and as a community. Learn more at spoonerhealth.com.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So I had an insider story. Our headline was, this is regarding Barron County. Plea hearing set for man facing 10th offense OWI charges in Barron County. You had put out a press release a while ago. I requested a criminal complaint, did a story on it. I don't want to get to the whole story again. I want to really get to this report here. But I just wanted your thoughts, and if you're paying attention, because the plea hearing is this Thursday, I believe, February 1st, and it's OWI 10th. Do you recall? I mean, there's got to be mandatory minimums at this point, right? Because I'm really interested to see what he's going to get.
Yeah, I have no idea. There is mandatory minimums on something like this. I don't follow that, so I couldn't tell you what he's going to. He's probably going to get the mandatory minimum. I'm sure it's 3 to 5 years in prison. I don't think it'll be longer than that. I mean, we've had murderers that gotten, less than that. So, but I'm sure it'll be 3 to 5 years in prison, and I'm sure he's still sitting. I know he's still sitting. So we'll figure that out. And yeah, not much to that except there is mandatory minimums he'll have to get.
And then you had issued a press release last week. Our headline was Elderly Cameron Resident Faces 10 Counts of Child Pornography. I think at the time I went and I looked on CCAP and I didn't see any information yet. I don't know if there's been any, he's been appeared in court yet or anything. I haven't had a chance to look at that. But for the people who didn't see that, what was that about?
Yeah, we did a case with DCI. It was about 6 months. We served a search warrant on the residence a while ago. Obviously, he denied it. We recovered some computer images or some computer issues or, phones, computers. We had that analyzed. The analyzation came back, and he was in possession of child porn. He was then arrested. He was charged. He since has been released on a signature bond. But we have multiple.
A signature bond?
Yeah.
Do you know how much it was by chance?
No, it was a signature bond. I don't think there was anything.
I didn't know if it was like a $1,000 signature bond, because I've never understood why even have an amount.
There was a. I'm sure there's an amount attached, but it's a signature bond. So
that's fantastic.
It was a reserve judge. That's all I know, and so I couldn't blame our other judges. And I'm not excited about that. With child pornography, I think cash bond is appropriate. But whatever, I'm not going to win that argument.
No. Is there anything else going down in Barron County, or things that you haven't put a press release out about? But
no, I mean it's been a busy morning, but it all has to do with other departments, and we've been assisting another department in our county, 2 counties, both. So there was some activity last night, but nothing in Barron County, and we've been working with 2 other counties and 2 other agencies, helping them do some things. So, nice. So for a Monday night, it was busy. The weather's great. We'll get to the weather report in a little bit, but I know you want to get into our annual report. So
yeah, I got it all printed out.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, last year, if I recall, when we did this, because there's 8 pages, you go through one section, and I had like 400 questions.
Okay.
So it was like the last 10 minutes of the show. I'm like, we're only halfway through, so we blew through it. So I'm going to do my best to actually try not to ask too many questions, so we can actually get to the information. Because I don't know how many people actually. It's on our website. I'm assuming you put it on your Facebook page, but it's on our website. What was the headline? Sheriff Fitzgerald releases 2023 annual Barron County Sheriff's Office report. So, take us from the very beginning.
Well, obviously, it was a tragic year in 2023 for law enforcement with the loss of Hunter and Emily, and that had a big impact on our department, and obviously a bigger impact on Cameron and Chetek. But then we obviously serve as their backup when they can't work, so we assisted both in that investigation with DCI, and then obviously serving in a role to assist their departments with whatever they need. And we can still obviously continue to do that with any and all of our police departments as they help us do different things too. But we've been helping them cover some shifts and do that. So that was a big incident in 2023, a tragic incident that, we all know about. We had a lot of changes in 2023 with lots of retirements at the end of the year, lots of promotions. We have some big changes happening next week here with a lot of night shift coming to day shift. Promotions are taking place, new sergeants, new detective. We're getting our new people are trained and ready to go. And so now we're moving our people around next week. So that's what's taking place right now today. But that had to do with losing 85 years of service.
I see that. We lost. We also lost 2 retirements, 85 years of service.
Yep.
In the county with 1, 2, 3, just from 3 people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you replace 85 years of experience? I mean, you can't. You can't. You can replace the person, but you're the position, but you can't replace 85 years.
Yeah. And this is the first time, obviously we hired 2 people from Spooner. Sorry, Mikey.
Sorry, Mikey.
I mean, I feel bad. I mean,
yeah.
He hired good people, and they happen to both live in Barron County. And we're driving to Spooner, so it's not like they're driving from Spooner here. They live here, and they wanted to work for a sheriff's department, just like people switch all the time. So, and then we hired a brand new person for the first time ever out of the academy. So that was the first time we
time ever.
First time ever. So
that surprises me. Why?
Well, no, because normally people work at a PD for a while and then come to the sheriff's department. They gain experience, and we hadn't had a lot of. We were a tenured department, and now we're not a tenured department. I still have a lot of experience here, but we weren't tenured like we were back then. So
I understand. In the first section there is budget in. Can you? I don't know what that means. Budget in. So this is last year. What does the in part of budget mean?
Well, that's how much the county gives us to run the sheriff's department. It doesn't mean it costs us that much, because a lot of times we're under budget. In fact, we've been under budget every year that I've been sheriff. We've been under budget, not by a lot, but but it costs $9.3 million, and we'll be under budget when we close the books next month. But not by $1 million, but it should be a couple $100,000 is what I'm hoping.
Sure. When I look back at some of these numbers, going back to like 2018, it was a $7.85 million. And it obviously keeps going up because everything keeps going up every year. Duh. 9.3. You say you kind of come in under it. How do you kind of manage that? Oh, see, here I'm getting away. We just gotta keep going. But I mean, how do you kind of manage that? I mean, you just talked about you had some very big cases and helping out St. Croix County with a lot of things and some very big things. Do you have a slush fund or something? I mean, like you just go and then, okay, I know I can't spend this. I mean, usually when you have a budget, you want to go up to that budget because if the county's going to give you the money, you're going to spend it.
Right.
So you can't anticipate those huge things that must cost you a lot of money, but you still come in under budget. How do you still come in under budget?
Well, when you budget for gas and gas prices go down, if gas prices would have went up, I'm not sure we would have been under budget.
I understand.
So it's gas, it's personnel, it's overtime. Maybe you move people around instead of fill a shift. I mean,
Sure.
we did a lot of things with utility people that have saved the county money by granting. I just met with our law enforcement team last week because we're trying to put a new position at the front door here at the Justice Center as a security person. But if they wouldn't have given me these utility people in the jail and in patrol that I can move around, I don't save as much money as I can. So we created positions forward thinking by my administrative team and myself that have given us some freedom to save some overtime. Overtime and gas are our two biggest expenses. Obviously, salaries increases. That's why you see a big increase. We added 2 new deputies last year. That's why a big jump from 8.8 to $9.3 million. We added 2 full-time deputies, so that's why you see an increase in 2023.
Yeah, I see that. Personnel, 78. And it was at
Right.
76
Right.
the last couple of years. Okay, I see that. There's some goals on here. Anything on there that you want to kind of touch on here?
No, I think we've talked about it. I mean, we're doing jail interviews as we speak. Next door here, they're doing some jail interviews to bring our staff to 100%. That would be my goal. We hired a dispatcher a couple weeks ago, not from anywhere around here, so that's good. We didn't steal from anybody, so no one can be mad at me. But we're restructuring.
Not this week, anyway.
Yeah, not this week. Anyway. No one can be mad this week.
Yeah,
right. So we're restructuring, like I just talked about. We have a jail Sallyport expansion that the county might borrow to expand our jail, but it cost about $2.5 million. We just got approved for a radio upgrade of a $1.5 million. That's going to increase our radio coverage for both our police, fire, EMS, sheriff's department, just to create better coverage area. Our technology, it's easy way to explain it is your cell phone is not 15 years old because technology has changed.
Right.
Every couple of years we get a brand new cell phone. This technology that our radios talk to our towers with is 15 years old. It's time to upgrade that. So we're upgrading that this year.
All right. Well, down to accidents, which I like to call crashes. Accidents imply that, nobody's at fault.
Right.
2023, 279. That's down from last year, down from the year before. Actually, looking back, 2018 was 356. And every year since then, this year compared, this is the lowest amount of, I'll call them crashes. There were 7 fatalities. We'll get to the fatalities in a second. But why do you think this number is a 279? I mean, that's a good number going down.
Yep.
The lowest amount in 5 years. 6 years. Lowest amount in 6 years.
Yep. I think car safety. I think traffic enforcement. I think people paying attention. I think public relations. I think we pushed all of those things. It's not just a one-prong approach when you do something. If I want to take care of drugs or, in this case, car accidents, it can't be just enforcement. You have to do enforcement, education, and, in cars have improved, safety has improved. We did a big thing with car dealerships last year. It's reminded new drivers to drive. So everybody that bought a car got a safety slip, and they're still at our dealership. Sometimes we have banners. They're still hanging up sometime today. We talked about, not drinking and driving, so all of that goes into play with our education and enforcement. And I think that's why you see that number down.
And then the fatalities from the accidents.
Right.
Going backwards from 2018 until last year, it was 5, 7, 4, 9, 7, 7. They're going to happen. There is no good number. 0 is the only good number.
Right.
But again, 7 is this, again, knowing they're going to happen. At least it's nice to see that it hasn't been increasing. Would that be accurate?
Well, and, 5 of those came from 2 crashes, or 4, 3 of them was at 1 crash. We had a triple and we had a double.
Okay.
So, so that's...
So 4 crashes really resulted in 7.
Right. So we had a triple fatality on Memorial Day. That one was the van that 13 people were injured. So that one was a tough one.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what sucks about them.
OWIs?
Yep.
Where is the actual number here?
93.
93. Oh, all right. I don't see where's it compared to all the other ones?
They're on the next page.
Oh, okay.
83. It's up 10.
Up 10. Compared to other years, though, 83 22. Okay, I see. 100% preventable. What is you put it in here? What is concerning is that 35 or 38% of these arrests still took place between 7 in the morning and 10 at night. So, rounding, 1 in 3 are happening basically daytime, evening hours.
Yeah, but if you look, it was 59% last year. So I think what we did again, we did a lot of education, and we dropped that number down from when you think that OWI is going to happen is at 2 in the morning.
Right.
We really dropped the number down between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. is when you and I and our kids are on the road. That's the number. I want to obviously drop them all, but I have to pick and choose what we can do. So we really concentrated our efforts on, don't drink and drive, daytime, and we still catch 35 of our 93. And that's just remember, these numbers are just Sheriff's Department. They don't include any of our local PDs. And I think all of our local PDs are probably up, or most of them are probably up. But so we did drop that number down. The youngest person was 18. The oldest person was 68. 27 were females of our 93. Most happen on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but there's some every day of the week we catch an OWI.
So more, according to at least the arrest, more are male.
Right, always.
Interesting. Well, that's true.
Year.
When I look at like booking reports, which
Right.
I don't really actually pay attention to a lot of booking reports because I can't really do anything with a booking report. I gotta wait for a criminal complaint, right? But I'll look like even on yours, like Barron County, which we'll post shortly after the show. It will even state how many male, how many female, and it's always higher with the male.
Always.
And it's like, man, that is such a sexist county down there. I tell you,
That's right. We're all
right. Yeah. So
we let them go.
Right. So yeah, I always found that fascinating. I guess men, which me being one, I would agree we're all stupid and do dumb things. But yeah, that's interesting. So also, real quick on this is you have the days,
right?
Where of the 93 people arrested for OWI, including 4 ATV, UTV OWIs. Friday, so the highest day was Sunday. Now that would be technically
Saturday,
midnight.
Right.
Okay,
So
that's where. Okay. But yeah, 14 on Friday, 16 Saturday, 28 Sunday. So, there's 30, 58 of your 93 came on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that would make sense, right?
Right. That does make sense. And that tracks when we put, when we think about doing an extra enforcement, that tracks with, and we use these numbers to track. If all of a sudden Mondays were a huge day for us, we'd be like, maybe we should put an extra car on Mondays.
Right.
So that's why we use these. That's why we track these numbers. It's not tracking just so we can talk about it. It's tracked so that we can do something with time of day, weekday, what should we concentrate on? So we need to talk about males driving on the weekends, and then we'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly. All guys. They just ban guys from
The bar.
driving on the weekends from the bar. Right. More women would probably go to the bar if you banned men from bars. I see a whole bunch of information here on boating, but this is from previous 2019, 2020, 2022.
I don't know that we had a boating one.
Yeah, I don't see that one. I was just curious about it.
UTV, ATVs, OWIs. So I don't see a boating. And the boating ones might be from Operation Dry Water, which the state or the DNR would write those, so they wouldn't go in our statistics. So
sure.
So.
Oh, I think Renee's referring to the don't have guy. Yeah, whatever. So traffic. Is there anything else on the OWIs?
No.
Okay.
I mean, obviously that's a number we want to be zero. It keeps going up, and we'll continue to enforce our traffic laws.
Traffic data. Number of traffic stops, 2,369. And it looks like a little less than half were citations issued. Is that up or down?
Our traffic stops are up about 311, and our citations are up about 209. So our traffic stops, and which is what we want. When we put extra traffic guys on, we expected better traffic enforcement. So we did get what our plan was. I mean, we use these as something that says, why when our traffic stops up, where our traffic stops were up, our cases are still up a little bit. So if your cases really skyrocket, maybe your traffic stops should drop. But in this case, our traffic stops were pretty consistent to where they've been over the last few years, minus the COVID year. And then that should go with your cases. So if your cases really skyrocket, your traffic stops should be down because your guys and gals are handling cases, not traffic stops. So if cases are the same, your traffic stops should be similar. That again tracks our trend perfectly.
Yeah, and looking at like 2019, the numbers on your report, if we can compare, because that was right the year before COVID, it was 2189 versus 2369, so very similar numbers. And the citations in 2019 compared to 2023 was 1299 then and 1219 last year. So that seems to be more along the lines of the pre-COVID.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Yep, that does. Perfect.
All right, what part of the next section you want to? There's recreational deputies, stuff like that. What do you want to touch on there?
This is just funding by our DNR, and this is our boat patrol, our UTV patrol, our snow patrol, all increased in 2022, 23, and you have to say 22 and 23 because some of your snow hours get billed to the previous year because winter happens in the year. Water is all billed in that year, and then sometimes snow or UTV can cross too. This year it's going to be very bad for snow. In fact, we have to open our trails for 3 days to get some funding for our clubs. So we're hoping it snows, but it's not looking too promising in February. But all of that's up. That's all there's a lot of numbers in this.
There is.
A lot more contacts. We're up 135 in snow. We're up 56 in water, and we're down in UTV. UTV would be down because we spent more time in the snow. There was a lot of snow last year. We did a lot of snowmobiling. All that is aid that we get reimbursed so many hours on our trails based on the number of stops we have. We get an amount from the DNR. We try to get 50% of our position funded. We almost got 100% of it funded, so that's good for the county taxpayers.
Wow.
So that's all reimbursed like that. So, but it's warnings and citations are all in there. You know, we had a couple drownings. So
yeah, this is a lot of this part reminds me a lot more of the transparency aspect. Just so everybody knows, and there is a lot. Again, you can find this on our website, driving.com. It's the 2023 Sheriff's Annual Report for Barron County. We're about halfway through. Oh, we're coming up on the drug thing. I can't wait to get to that.
Okay.
I love talking about drugs. All right, so we kind of go through what's next here.
Total cases are up 64. ICAC cases were down 3.
ICAC, ICAC, what does that stand for?
Internet crimes against children or child porn cases.
Oh, I didn't know that.
16 versus 19. So that's what we were dealing with. Hang on. I gotta check something.
Yeah. I didn't know that's what it stood for.
Yeah, internet crimes against children.
16. That, I don't know, that's number, feels like that there was more to be in.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. That's just Barron County.
Right. That's just Barron County.
Not the Rice. Okay. So I'm like, I feel like there was a lot more than just 16. That doesn't include the municipalities.
No, that doesn't include. And that was down. I actually thought it was up. I thought we spent more time on them, but
Me too.
You know, again, we talk about how much time they take. We've talked about that lots on the show. So,
yeah.
But that trends tracks. It'll be our highest number of cases we've done, but that would track with when your traffic stops go up. A lot of them take a case to do. So if your traffic stops are up, naturally your cases should be up too.
Sure. Yeah.
Not every traffic stop gets a case, but then if your OWIs go up, that's 10 more cases. So things like that. So again, nothing alarming, trending. That crime is steady.
Yeah. And so far, by the way,
right,
it seems like everything is either steady or declining. If it should decline, and up if it's good, like more cases. Just saying, so far, there's nothing actually that I can go, what in the world are you guys doing down there? But so far, it's pretty, it's good, I think, right? I mean, you don't want a lot of peaks and valleys. Just keep improving every year.
Right. And, you want zero, obviously zero fatalities, zero OWIs. It's not going to happen. That's why you pay us. I mean, but so, paper service, that's the number of process service that we did. That was up 18. We served 1,000 papers, 1,101. That's restraining orders. There's way too many of these. I wish they'd stop. If I have a problem with Ben Dryden, I can get a restraining order against you. Then I got to serve you. That takes up a lot of law enforcement time. Paper service does. Divorces, restraining orders, domestics, all that. They're handing them out too often. And a lot of them are temporary and they get denied in court, but we have to serve the temporary ones. So if I don't like that your dog walked across my lawn, I can get a restraining order against you. And it's just like, no, just tell me to not walk across your lawn. But neighbors can't.
In our patient satisfaction surveys and in conversations with patients, they appreciate it.
Sorry, accidentally hit the wrong button there. Sorry.
So that's the problem with that, I wish we could serve less papers, but we can't.
Well, 1101, that's 365, that's just over three a day.
It's only 3 a day. I mean, it's not a lot. But
I mean, it kind of is, because I don't know how many you do on Saturdays or Sundays, but still, that's a decent amount in terms of time.
Well,
because you just don't put it in the mail, like, oh, okay, here's a paper service, put it in the mail, put it in the mailbox, done. No, you have to take a deputy, then have to go, and it's a relatively large-sized county. You don't even know where you're going, and then that's that whole time in the process to do it. If you do that 3 times a day,
and if you're not home, and we have to serve it, we have to do it 3 times. If you're not home, I mean, maybe you're on vacation this week, maybe you're gone, maybe you moved. I mean, we have to do all of that.
That's almost like a full shift right there for one person just doing 3 of those a day. Now, I'm exaggerating, but
we have a full-time paper service guy. Well, and we're changing that a little bit. We're restructuring our department. That's part of our restructure. We're moving that away we're moving into a patrol position so that we can have more patrol coverage. Because we've got a better handle on some of that, because some of them have to be served at night and that person was only working on days. So we are restructuring that position in next week. So that's what we're doing. So, yep. Dispatch calls, 14,924 calls. That's up 1,400. So a lot more people are using 911. That's what we want. That averages about 40 911 calls per day. A CAD is 38,411. That's how many CADs. That's countywide. That's if you do a traffic stop, if you call in a burning permit, if you have an ambulance call, if you have anything, that creates a CAD. So there was 38,411 CADs. That's actually down 400, which is a little surprising. That
good
was
or bad surprising?
With more 911 calls, I thought you'd have, and more traffic stops and more. So, maybe some of the PDs were down in their numbers. I don't know. But the CAD is a countywide system that we create a CAD for everything that happens. So it actually went down to 105 CADs per day instead of 106 last year. So one less CAD per day.
And again, what is CAD? What does that stand for?
Computer aided dispatch is what it's called.
Got
and it's 38,411 CADs. So that's actually down 400, which is, 400 is not a lot, but it's down. It's a little different.
Yeah.
So domestics were down. Domestics were up just a tad, up 12. 3 for the sheriff's department, 270 countywide, 76 for the sheriff's department handled 76 of the 270, which makes sense because more people call in domestics inside city limits, village limits, because your neighbors hear you a little bit more. So apartment buildings, that's why you have more domestics inside. They happen at convenience stores, they happen at apartment buildings, they happen, and more people call where you live in the country and you have a fight, no one hears you.
That makes sense.
So that's why you see more, and that's countywide. You got 6 other departments handling 200 domestics. So,
well, pre-COVID, looking at 2019 compared to last year, there were 480 domestic disturbance / violence calls for service, 480 countywide, to now 2023 270. So from 480 down to 270, and from just the sheriff's office, you had over almost 60% of them in 2019. And so 256 in 2019, down to 76. Again, I'm skipping 2020 and 2021 because of COVID. But then looking at last year, it's about the same from last year, not significantly higher or lower from last year. But looking at 2018, 2019, both of those numbers are way higher. So these last 2 years have been a good trend, I guess, compared to pre-COVID. Significantly reduced, some by 50% here. What do you attribute this to?
Oh, I think it's education, it's enforcement, it's embrace. I mean, I'll give them credit where the credit's due. I mean, they do a good job of working with their victims and trying to not have a repeat offender. And that's getting people help and support that they need to get out of a domestic. One time is too many. So I'll give credit. I think it's a team effort across the county from DHS to Embrace to local law enforcement. This is a team effort.
All right. Next up, of course, is yes, drug cases. Oh,
Drug case.
see, I don't have a. You had it in color. I don't have a color printer. But this is the only thing that stood out to me when I was reading this, when you sent it out, was the total number of drug cases. Like, so first of all, everyone's always saying, stop worrying about the marijuana. Why don't you go after some of the bigger cases, right? So I'm like, the first thing I look at is how many cases, marijuana. So just the possession, where is it? There was marijuana possession of marijuana with intent to deliver, and delivery, manufacturing marijuana. These numbers was like 5, and it was just like 5 possession of marijuana. I'm like, that can't be right. Apparently, you're listening to everybody saying, leave those potheads alone.
That's right. Marijuana.
Right. Okay. So, like, honestly, I thought that was the first number I looked at. But then I looked at some other things, like comparing that to the THC. Well, that's delivered THC. Where's the meth one?
Meth. Right.
Yeah, possession of meth 16. No, paraphernalia 16. Possession of meth 90. No, 10. I'm looking at the wrong number. I'm looking at totals.
Right.
Possession of meth paraphernalia 0. Possession of meth 10. 10? Like, that can't. That's not right.
Right.
Delivery of meth 3. Possession of meth with intent to deliver 2. I mean, all these numbers when I start looking across are down. Why?
Well, and yeah, that is our only trending down. We still have a drug problem. Meth is still number 1. A couple things when it comes to that is, one, we used to have 2 full-time drug detectives. I only had 1 in 2023 because I used 1 in patrol. We had a promotion. Jason Hagan was our drug unit guy. He was the number 1 guy, I think, in the state for drugs. He just was good at it. He had a lot of contacts. He was able to maneuver the drug world. We promoted him to captain in 2023. I've now since promoted him at the end of 22. So all of 23, we had a brand new drug detective. We used to have 2. We only had 1. Our other drug detective went back to K9, Mike Carroll. So I got him out. I was short until I get people hired. And both my drug guys, starting next week, I'll have 2 back now next Monday. But both are new to the drug world. So
and that, I'm assuming it takes a while to build up that rapport with people and get
So I'm not saying drugs are down as far as our stats are. I also used our detective last year because he was a newer detective. We had to give him some other detective cases, which include internet crimes against children, some sexual assaults. So we spent some time doing other things to get our detectives trained and took it away from drugs a little bit. Now we're going to start. We actually met this morning. We're going to have Operation. I got to come up with a cool name for the summer. We're going to do some drug operations where we go out and saturate patrol and increase our safety on our roads to try to decrease accidents, decrease OWIs, increase our drug arrests. We know drugs are out there. We just got the report from the State Patrol on the number of drug arrests that they handle across the state. And there's a lot of drugs flowing through. So we need to do a better job of that enforcement. So we're working on that. Based on these numbers, we're going to try to fix that. We're going to, we had somebody bring meth into the jail. We've had fentanyl in marijuana this week. I mean, so we've got some trends right now that I got to get out and do some education. We've got to do enforcement, and we've got to do we need some help from people, because if fentanyl is now in our marijuana, that's going to kill people in Barron County. We don't want that. So it's a big issue for 2024. It doesn't reflect in our stats because our drug unit wasn't what it was.
Well, you were down 50%.
Right.
And that person was new, right?
Right. So that's why.
So it wasn't like I'm looking at this and going, or if anybody else was looking at this going, hey, good job.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
drugs are down. This is fantastic. Maybe it is, but also there's other factors.
Right.
So next year it'll likely be, we're going to see that number going up because now we're fully staffed in that. So we can, and you're going to have an operation. I'm totally going to come up with a name for that.
Yeah.
Operation something. I'm going to give you like 3 or 4 ideas. No kidding. I'm gonna start thinking about that.
I got some like Operation Summer Sizzle,
Oh,
Operation.
no, I love that stuff. Like, where do they come up with these things? It's just great.
We need to have a cool one. And so, yeah, so no, drugs aren't down. And there's a lot of factors that go into that.
And this is perfect timing, Renee. She probably has the report up. Because in here it says 2023, the Sheriff's Department spent $2,500 on drug buy money for the cases above, etc. But Renee has a question. Where does the money go to on the drug deals? I'm not 100% sure. Like in terms of like buying it?
We receive, we can, if we seize enough of it, like if you have $10,000, we can seize, we usually get about 70%. The state of Wisconsin gets the other 30. And that's if you don't have any fines or restitution to pay. That always comes in first. So we can seize it. We haven't had a lot of seizures. Once in a while we have some. In fact, marijuana is our number one seizure. You know, we received, I think it was 10 years ago, 7 years ago, we seized like $89,000 on a marijuana case. So I wouldn't mind a big marijuana case and seize some money. And then we bought some equipment with that money. We can use it for certain things, officer safety. We use it as our buy money because I don't like to take taxes because it costs money, because I can't just buy drugs from you once. The state of Wisconsin or the court system doesn't say I can buy from Ben Dryden and makes him a drug dealer. So I got to buy from you twice, which means I lose the first $250, maybe the second $250 to prove that you're a drug dealer and not just a one-time. I just needed some money to pay my rent, so I sold drugs, but I'm not really a drug dealer. Well, now if I can say you've sold to me 3 times, then that makes you a drug dealer. So I lose a lot of money. So we're not going to leave pot alone until it's legalized. Sorry. So.
Yeah, no kidding. It's not right. That's like literally your job as a law enforcement is if you want it changed, then you know.
But we don't go looking for it. I mean, those cases we're not like, oh my gosh. But if a tip comes in on marijuana, we're going to follow up on it. So
right, and then next thing you know, you get a tip, and there's a whole bunch of monkeys in a huge barn full of
with a grow operation.
With a grow
so, right, exactly. So
yeah, we're not going to go, well, whatever.
And my concern with marijuana is we recovered marijuana the other night. Now we're having it tested at the crime lab, so that's why there's not a press release. But our test kit came up positive for fentanyl. So we're sending it to the crime lab to determine if fentanyl is in there. Now, if fentanyl is being mixed with our marijuana, I have a huge issue with that, and that could kill people. So, because that's what people are doing to make their drugs the best drugs around. If you and I sell drugs and you don't mix yours with fentanyl and I do, mine's stronger, gives me a better high, so I'm going to buy from me and not you. That's what people are doing today. And so we have to be very careful, because we know that the number one drug in our high schools is marijuana. We know that our number one drug for people under the age of 20 is marijuana. We know that then it switches to methamphetamine. Why that switches, I can't tell you, but I'm telling you, no one started with marijuana or methamphetamine and said never smoke marijuana. So we have to, now a lot of people stop and don't do methamphetamine. So I'm not
completely right.
Correlating the two. I'm just saying, you asked me and now you got the answer.
Yeah. Well, I think Polk County is, I think the board, I think there's a controversy over there. Something about that, and maybe you guys have this in Barron too. Dumbest thing I ever heard is that they're getting the ability or voting on something, or maybe they already did this, where you can take in your drugs to see if they have, no, you don't take them in. You get like a fentanyl test thing. Right. So then you can, if you bought some drugs, you can go in and get this for free, taxpayer dollar money, go get it, because it's not actually free, right? But given to the county, and then you can go home and see if it has fentanyl in it. But the part of why I think this is just, I like the concept of the idea, try to save people's lives. But I mean, what are you going to do if you just bought some meth or some marijuana and you then get this test kit and you find out that there's fentanyl in it? Are you going to throw it away? I don't know a whole lot of people are just going to throw away $100 worth of drugs. So probably not. So you're either going to give it away to somebody else or sell it maybe to somebody else, or you're still going to do it, just try to be careful about it. So I don't feel like it sounds good on paper, but I don't think it's actually going to solve anything. And if I were a drug dealer, I'd just go in and buy or get all these kits for free and then prove, say, look at my marijuana's got fentanyl in it. It's going to cost you twice as much. Do you guys do that in Barron County?
It's a harm reduction strategy. We're not doing that yet. I see it coming. We have to do a lot more education and a lot more instruction on it. So Not going to happen anytime soon, but it is something out there that the big cities of Milwaukee, Madison are doing in vending machines. Now, we have Narcan because I believe in Narcan. And not having
Narcan,
people
totally
die.
different. Love it. I have
Right.
no problem with that.
Yeah, but testing your fentanyl or testing your marijuana, and you got to be able to test it. What if I shake it and everything in this corner had the fentanyl? You know, there's a lot of issues.
There's got to be liability. Like your liability insurance for the county has to go up. I'm serious. It has to go up because if they don't do it right,
I died, so I'm suing you. You know,
that's not a joke. Seriously,
I agree. So.
Ridiculous. All right, jail bookings. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want? Yeah.
Up 60, pretty steady, 1,120, 760 male, 360 female, pretty same ratio. You know, women are up just a tad. Jail population, we're housing for out of county still.
Oh, yeah, you are. It was down 20 in men and up, what is that, 80 for females from last year. Attaboy, go. Yeah, you got to start busting those women.
That's right. We really cracked down on women. So, I don't know why it's and that. Oh, I know why. We housed all of Sawyer County's females because they didn't have a female jailer for 4 months. That's why. I was like, why is our female numbers up? But that's why we housed all of Sawyer County's females for at least 4 months. So
okay.
So that's why our female numbers are up. So
got it.
We held strictly, and so that would have been booking in and out of strictly females for several months.
So you're not like running in your next campaign. I'm anti-women and lock them all up.
That's right.
That's okay.
So,
all right.
The next thing is fees. Nothing. That's just how much we collect in fees. Underage drinking was up 12. Nothing shocking about that.
What's shocking is last year was, 2022 was 32. Last year was 44, so it's up. But the year before, it was 135.
Yeah.
And that was the second year of COVID.
Right.
Wow. I mean, so that's dropped from 135 down to 44 in 2 years.
We busted some bigger parties. I think there were some 20 and 30 citation parties written in that 1 year. We just didn't find the parties. It's kind of like, let's go back to drugs a little bit. Not everybody wants to be an informant because the sentences they're getting aren't as strict as they could be. And so would you rather be an informant or take a small deal with the DA's office or with the judges? So again, if we have tougher penalties, more people want to be informants to help themselves out. It's a catch-22. So I know
I'm fine with that stuff. If they're caught for like the second or third time, no, you can't be an informant at this point.
Right.
But if it's the first time, I have zero problem with that if you get the bigger fish. I don't think anybody really should have that big of a problem with that. But, they probably do. ERT, Emergency Response Team.
Yeah, we had 6 call-outs, up 3. That's still not a lot of call-outs. That's Barron and Rusk County. Most of them were in our county. Nothing real spectacular there.
Right.
The last page was grants, how many grants we've gotten, and that should do it. Otherwise,
who writes your grant? I mean, do you have like a single person? Do you write the grants? How does that work? Just out of curiosity.
My team here. I write some of them. Some of them are very simple. Some are naturally we get. I wrote some of them. And Penny, my secretary, writes a lot and helps with it. We have a lot of people that help. So.
Yeah. Tiffany says, jail bookings, I know you don't personally know, but I hope they stop letting this Levi guy stays locked up. I keep seeing him for terrible things like that. Not sure the Levi. Oh, is that the Levi? Isn't that the one that's the 10th? No.
I know what she's referencing. I wish we could hold people in jail. I know. Yeah. I do know about the case. I don't know all about all those cases, but I would agree with you. So, but we can't hold people in jail. I can only arrest them.
That's right. That's right. I can't change the law for marijuana.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I can only enforce it. So we'll wait for our weather report from our official weatherman. In the meantime, what do you have coming up this week?
Just a couple meetings. Nothing really, but we have guests for the next 4 weeks coming up on the show. And so, I'm very excited about all of the guests that I lined up.
So 3 of the 4. You're not excited about the one I lined up.
I'm excited about that one.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. But I just think it's important to know what's out there. And I think a lot of people, I know a lot of people don't watch this live. A lot of people watch it on tape. But I think there's those are three very big nonprofits. I mean, our Meals on Wheels, you're going to learn a lot about Meals on Wheels from Jennifer Jaco later in the month. You're going to learn a lot about the Benjamin House and our homeless population. A lot of people always have questions about that.
Yes.
You're going to learn about our Boys and Girls Club and what we're doing to raise some money to build a better building, what our Boys and Girls Club does from our executive directors across the county. So all three I
am
all
too.
my time into.
I'm very excited.
And I think they're just important. So
I agree.
I'm excited about our guests.
Yeah, me too. So Dirk, by the way, this is brilliant. He puts in, now he has two, part 1 and part 2. So now it doesn't. That's a great idea, Dirk. Clouds today, the partly to mostly sunny skies for the rest of the week. Highs around 40, around 50. That's freaking ridiculous. It's February, and 40 the rest of the week. Part 2, the weekend still dry. Temps in the middle 40s to around 50. Basically, the boring weather continues. First of all, no kidding, Dirk. I never even would have thought of that. That's great. Great idea to putting in the part 1, part 2, so we can actually get on the screen without it. Yeah. No, great idea. Yep, so this week I think I'll be having Brian Cole. I haven't talked to him in a while. Okay. He'll be on the show this Thursday. And I think I just saw, I did. Yesterday, I think I even shared it on my personal page, like he's stopping the Biker Sunday stuff. He put a video out about that. And this wasn't timed. I asked him like a month ago to come on. So that'll be interesting. And I probably need to contact the board or the county or someone at some point this week and maybe do like a story like the 5 myths about the jail project in Washburn, because there's a lot of misinformation. So, I don't know. Probably feel like I should get accurate information out there.
Yeah, we probably should.
Right.
When you're doing a building project, you want accurate information out. So.
Yeah, maybe. Yeesh. Other than that, I don't know. I don't think I have anything else going on. Hey, thanks so much, for.
Yeah, there's no snow. Still go out and support our places that would normally be snowmobiling. I know they're taking a hit. I know the Berkey's going to take a hit. I know they canceled the pre-Berkey. I know they're meeting in mid-February to talk about the regular Berkey. That's a huge drop.
When is the Berkey again? Is it February or March?
The last weekend in February is when the Berkey is. The pre-Berkey is 2 weeks. But I know they're making snow, and I know they'll probably have a small – but I don't know if it's going to work. At 50 degrees, it's going to be really tough to make snow.
Well, and Dirk saying that it's going to be, for at least the next week, dry middle 40s to 50. It will be well into February. Well, not well into, but we'll be into February. This is kind of crazy, right?
Oh,
I don't recall this ever happening before.
Snow. Zero snow and have 40 degrees. There's people. It's great to save on our highway budgets. It's great to save on car accidents. It's great to save on all that. There's always good in it, but doesn't look like any winter storms through mid-February.
This has got to have to be at some point a record. Or it just has to be, right? It was like 3 or 4 days we had a little bit of snow. I'd go out and shovel just a little bit. I think you and I both said that last week. We've only used a snowblower once, but we didn't even have to. It was just, I feel like I should. This is nuts. We had 1 week of a few days of snow. That's it. And we're in February in a couple of days.
Yeah, I agree. So just go out and enjoy the weather, be safe, and thanks for a great 2023.
Awesome. Thank you, Dirk. And look, I love all the positivity, right? Thank you, Jody. Sunny did show up for a little bit. Oh, this is great. Awesome. We went over our time. Fitzy, thanks so much for sticking around so we could get through this stuff. Again, if anybody wants to see all of the numbers from the report, it's on our website at DrydenWire.com. It's still on our front page today. So for Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Listen, I'm reading comments because I memorized all this by now, so I'm not it's just muscle memory at this point. Give Brian a call today. See what they can do for you. 715-520-2271. Fitzy and I are taking a 6-day, 23-hour, and 10-minute break. Next week, a reminder, we will be joined right away at the beginning with our special guest. What was your name? Jan
Mason, our executive director.
I'm going to have to email today to do a test show to make sure we're all technology. Yeah, I'll get that done this week as well. Can't wait till next week. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Until next week, thank you. Have a blessed day.